Welcome to Super Mario Bros. In Review, the show where I'll be watching and reviewing every Super Mario movie and ranking them from best to worst. If you'd rather watch this same concept before the Super Mario video games, then look no further than Super Mario In Review, the show where I ranked every Super Mario game from best to worst, now as a single video or video playlist, links to both in the description. Nintendo's latest foray into the film world has finally arrived, this time Illumination Animation making an animated version of the Plumber Brothers. In the past 2 episodes, I watched and reviewed the long-forgotten anime Mario film from 1986, as well as the much-debated live-action adaptation from 1993. But this time I'm going to look into the more modern, and seemingly much more faithful, animated version of these Super Mario Brothers. Nintendo historically hasn't done well with film. The first Mario anime has been obscured from the history books, and despite my love for it, the live-action film was a horrendous failure. They had more success in the animation world, with various Super Mario cartoons, the, questionable Donkey Kong cartoon, the Kirby anime, the Animal Crossing anime, and of course the widely beloved Pokemon series. In fact, Pokemon has been their only surefire success on the silver screen. According to the Nintendo Fan Wiki, there's a sum total of 23 mainline Pokemon movies, 6 special movies, and 1 live-action flick, Detective Pikachu. Detective Pikachu is special because it finally marked a change in Nintendo's behavior. Ignoring how they licensed character appearances for Wreck-It Ralph and the Adam Sandler vehicle Pixels, Detective Pikachu was Nintendo's first time trying at a widely marketed film in 26 years, and by all metrics it was a huge success. It grossed $144, Pokemon fans seemed to like it, and while it wasn't reviewed especially great, the response was a far cry from the 93 Super Mario Bros. And hey, I also enjoyed it for what that's worth, and I don't even like Pokemon. But talks of an animated Mario film started a bit before 2019's Detective Pikachu. Sony Pictures was attempting to get the rights to make a Mario Empire as early as 2014, with leaked emails revealing their want to get Genndy Tartakovsky, the guy behind Samurai Jack, the 2D Clone Wars cartoon, and probably more relevant, the Hotel Transylvania movie. These talks fell through, but the idea of a film stayed with Nintendo. Official talks began in earnest in 2015 when Nintendo began their partnership with Universal Studios to create what I hear is an excellent theme park with Super Nintendo World. Shortly after the initial partnership, Mario's dad, Shigeru Miyamoto, met with Illumination founder Chris Meledandri to discuss a potential film. Miyamoto had been considering a film for some time by that point, and Meledandri was able to convince him that they'd work well together, that Illumination would be the right studio. Talks ramped up in 2017 and the film was first announced in 2018 with an initial release date of 2022. Nintendo affirmed Miyamoto would be working closely with Meledandri and Illumination, while also making note that Nintendo would own the full rights to the film. It seems they were a bit more protective this time around. It's in 2021 when the film became real for myself and many others. Nintendo held a direct presentation revealing the star-studded cast, and a decision that still, to this very day, has me befuddled. Chris Pratt is playing the leading role of Super Mario. What? Miyamoto said he's so cool? I can't.
He's so cool.
Anyway, despite mainly consisting of big actors when trained voice actors would probably do better jobs, the cast seemed alright. Anya Taylor-Joy would be voicing Peach, Charlie Day Luigi, Jack Black Bowser, among others. And at least Mario's main voice actor, Charles Martinet, seemed to be taking it well, despite only having small cameos in the film. And he'll still be the voices in the games, at least. Around this time, it was also noted that Teen Titans Go's Aaron Horvath and Michael Jelenic would be directing the film, the Minions Rise of Gru's Matthew Fogel would be the screenwriter, and Ed Scudder, who's also worked on a bunch of cartoons, would be the head of story. Which is to say, Illumination was collecting high talent from a plethora of different kid-centered cartoons and movies. While that means the target demographic isn't going to be for people like me, it's bound to be much more cohesive than its live-action predecessor. Originally set for a December 2022 release, it was eventually delayed to 2023. Going in, I wavered between somewhat optimistic and somewhat skeptical. It felt like the film would be doing quite a lot, especially with its relatively quick 90-minute runtime. But also, Illumination clearly had a reverence for the source material, and a lot of the actors, especially Jack Black, were doing really good jobs in the trailers. So I went in knowing it was going to be a mainly kids movie, but hoping for the best. And after almost exactly 30 years after Super Mario Bros. Released in May 1993, Super Mario Bros. Opened April 5th, 2023. The film met with harsh reviews from most critics, but that almost didn't matter. It was finally a Mario movie that was faithful to Super Mario lore, and audiences were gobbling it up. The kids' movie plot with a Super Mario veneer entertained families, or in my case adults, all over, earning over $500 million in just over a week. It not only broke the record for fastest grossing animated feature, but also became the best-selling video game movie of all time, and more than made up its estimated budget of around $100 million. And I, of course, helped. I watched it twice, once by myself and once with my family. As both a movie fan and a really big Mario fan, I found myself somewhere in between what the critics thought and what the general audiences thought. But first, let's move on to the plot. Spoilers, by the way. Now, here's a shocker. For the third time in a row, the Super Mario Bros. Animated film set out to be an origin story for Mario and Luigi. But this time, Jelinek and Horvath took inspiration from the latest games in the series, Super Mario 3D World, Mario Kart 8, with some Odyssey in there for good measure. The film opens introducing the MacGuffin of the film. Bowser's castle slowly floats towards a castle of ice filled with absolutely adorable penguins. Unfortunately, the birds are ill-equipped to face off against Bowser's fire or Kamek's dark magics. The penguins are swiftly captured while Bowser finds his prize, an item block with the ultimate power-up within, the Super Star. Cut to a commercial for Super Mario Bros. Plumbing. Utilizing the intro theme from the Super Mario Bros. Super Show, Mario and Luigi advertise their new up-and-coming plumbing business. And to top it off, they put on some really silly accents, which was how the filmmakers got away with having traditional Mario and Luigi voices without having them throughout the whole film. Afterwards, Mario and Luigi discuss their latest masterpiece and are more than happy to have spent their life savings on it. Even the weird guy playing the Jumpman arcade, who talks a lot like Charles Martinet, liked it. But there's another man who decidedly does not like the commercial. Spike, Mario and Luigi's former boss from their time at Wrecking Crew. He chides them for having not received a single call, threatens Mario and a cowering Luigi, then leaves. Trying to cheer up his younger bro, Mario introduces the heart of the film. He tells Luigi that together they can do anything. And as if on cue, they get their first customer. After their van is unable to start, Mario and Luigi race to get the job done. And in a really fun sequence, Mario platforms through a New York street very similar to how one would run through the first level of the original Super Mario Bros. Once at the client, the brothers easily fix the pipe, but the client's dog lashes out at them, wrecking the bathroom in the process. Mario and Luigi head home to their very big Italian family and their dinner of mushroom pasta, of which Mario does not like. Everyone takes turns roasting them over their new commercial, but it doesn't really get to Mario until he asks his dad, who says that not only is this a foolish endeavor, but that he's bringing down Luigi with him. Mario storms off, making it Luigi's turn to cheer up his bro. Partway through, a news broadcast catches Mario's attention. Brooklyn is flooding and Mario thinks he and Luigi are the ones to fix it. This fails too, and Mario and Luigi find themselves crashing into a part of the sewers that hasn't been touched in years. At the bottom, Luigi gets whisked away by this big green pipe, followed soon by Mario. Mario once again reiterates the theme of the film that nothing bad will happen when they're together, which prompts the movie to pull Luigi towards a dark and scary area while Mario finds himself flung into the Mushroom Kingdom. This opening salvo, on one hand, is filled to the brim with Mario and other Nintendo references, both visually and musically, and I really loved seeing and hearing them all. On the other hand, it's a fairly bare-bones children's movie. The stakes are set up concretely. Mario and Luigi love each other, their dad is disappointed in them, and Mario needs to get Luigi back. There is really no deviation from these points, and the themes are not explored in any especially interesting ways. But it's enough to get to what the movie is really trying to be, a vehicle for references. Every time Mario music was interwoven into the scenes, my smile grew larger and larger. Heck, hearing the original Mario theme in the opening credits made me tear up a little bit. The underground theme playing as the brothers explored the sewers that are labeled 1-2 was a really nice touch. Hearing Charles Martinet as the old guy who likes Mario and Luigi's silly accents was fun. The fact that he's playing an arcade game called Jumpman is really cute. The fact that they're in Punch-Out Pizzeria, where pictures of all the bosses from Punch-Out are hung on the walls, is a really fun detail. Spike looks really close to his original art, and adding wraparound sunglasses was a fun way to visually tell he's a bit of a jerk. Luigi's ringtone being the GameCube startup noise was a great decision. As a fan, all of these references were really fun to pick out. But then the writing itself is very basic. Spike is a generic bully, the message of family sticks together is a blunt weapon, none of the dialogue is especially witty or entertaining. Things are constantly happening at awfully convenient times. None of this is to say it's bad, but it's nothing special either. As the movie continues, Mario meets Toad, who brings him to Peach. She trains him to fight Bowser before setting off to recruit the Kong army. Luigi is caught and brought to Bowser, who interrogates him. Bowser also reveals his master plot, to use the Power Star to either marry Princess Peach, or to use it to take over the world, either or. He even sings a really fun song about it, because Bowser is played by Jack Black, so of course he gets to sing a song. I wouldn't have had it any other way, really. Peaches, 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 oh, yeah, oh. Once at Kong Island, Cranky Kong will only lend his army if Mario can beat his son Donkey Kong in a fight. And while it doesn't go well at first, Mario is able to utilize the catsuit to kick some tail. This defeat sparks a bitter rivalry between Mario and DK, who is very upset he lost to a tiny Italian man. Mario, Peach, and Toad then customize their own carts to race towards the Mushroom Kingdom and prepare for their war against the Koopa. But as they take their shortcut through Rainbow Road, Bowser springs a trap. A whole horde of Koopas in their own carts attack. Peach holds her own pretty well, but must pull a really cool stunt to rescue Toad from falling into the water below. Mario's cart gets destroyed, he hijacks a random Koopa's ride, but a blue Koopa smashes into that one too. And with the aid of Donkey Kong's ride, they're able to destroy the blue Koopa's cart. The group almost get away, but the blue Koopa had one more trick up his sleeve. He yells "Blue Shell" before zoning in on Mario and DK, blasting their cart and destroying a chunk of Rainbow Road. Peach and Toad get away, Mario and DK fall into the drink, and the rest of the Kong army is captured by Bowser. Mario saves DK from drowning just before getting vored by a giant eel. They, well, almost bond over their shared daddy issues before using DK's rocket cart to escape. Also, the bloopers in this movie look really cute. Meanwhile, Peach evacuates Toad Town, equips a sick halberd, and prepares to face off against Bowser. While she's initially caught off guard by his marriage proposal, she relents after Kamek begins torturing a Toad, and Bowser promises not to harm any more of them. Now it's time for the royal wedding. Many of Bowser's minions show, including King Bob-omb and King Boo, as well as all of Bowser's captees, who are to be sacrificed in the fiery lavas in Peach's honor. Both the bride and groom are dressed exactly as they were in Odyssey, but Peach has a trick up her bouquet. She powers herself up with an ice flower and freezes both Bowser and the mechanism that's lowering the prisoners into the red drink. She's quickly overwhelmed by Bowser's minions and loses her power up when King Bob-omb literally dies, blows up. Mario and DK arrive in the nick of time, powering up and racing through Toad Town at peak performance, smashing Koopas and Goombas as they go. DK gets to use a fire flower and Mario finds a Tanuki suit. Once reaching Bowser's castle, DK is able to stop the prisoners from sinking any further, and Mario rescues Luigi just before he falls into the red stuff. They regroup with Peach atop the castle, and Bowser gets really pissed off when he sees Mario and Peach being all chummy. With anger in his heart, he frees his head from the ice and calls for a bonsai bill to destroy the Mushroom Kingdom. Well, at least I'm calling it a bonsai bill. I think in the movie he says bullet bill, but it's obviously a bonsai bill. There were even regular bullet bills earlier on in the Rainbow Road sequence, so I don't want to specify that this is an even bigger one, which it is. It is very big, but anyway, I'm not really bitter about it or anything. It's just that there's already a name for really big bullet bills, so you'd think they'd have used it, especially in a film that's so intent on capitalizing on all the iconography from the Mario lineage. But whatever. I'm not mad. Mario flies after it and at the last minute swings his tail in its eye, pausing it right before it destroys the castle. But now the bonsai bill is mad and chases after the plumber. And for whatever reason, Mario decides the best course of action is to send the bill into the warp pipe he first popped out of. And this plan works initially. It flies into the in-between realm and blows up. But I guess the explosion created some sort of vacuum. The pipe begins to suck up everything not tied down in the Mushroom Kingdom, including all of our primary characters and the entirety of Bowser's castle, but not any of the Biddy Buddies or Toads who were also around. They all pop out of the other end, which now places them on the surface of the Big Apple. The movie doesn't explain how the pipe far underground shoots everything up onto the surface, nor does it recompense with the thousands of lives that would have been immediately lost when Bowser's kingdom-sized castle crashes down upon the densely packed New York high-rises. Nevertheless, Bowser almost gets the upper hand, but at the last moment Peach is able to kick the Power Star within Mario's reach. Luigi, having grown a sense of bravery, blocks Bowser's fire with a manhole cover, giving the brothers just enough time to grab the star for themselves. And I'll be honest, this scene whips. A powered-up Mario and Luigi just hand it to Bowser. As a fun remix of the original star theme plays, they give Bowser the old uppercut, much like how they would in Smash Bros., even swing him around by the tail, before smashing him back to the ground. Once defeated, Peach gives him a mini mushroom and Toad puts him in a... He's placed into a jar, a normal jar. The citizens of New York cheer, Spike dubs them the Super Mario Bros., and Mario's dad says he's proud. We then find Mario waking up in his old room, but it's not his old room, because he moved to the Mushroom Kingdom for some reason. Maybe because rent was cheaper? Or he wanted to be closer to Peach? Or maybe because half of New York was obliterated by Bowser's castle? Dunno, it's really hard to say because the movie ends right there, finally displaying an incredibly late title card. There are kind of 3 post-credit scenes. The first has a nihilistic Luma that was imprisoned with Luigi monologuing about the darkness that comes at the end of the film, before starting the credits theme with a really sick sax rendition of the original SMB theme. So that one was for me specifically. A mid-credit scene continues Bowser's really cute Peaches song, Peach, and another after the credits teases at a sequel, now involving a Yoshi egg that was originally one of Peach and Bowser's wedding gifts, which kinda doesn't tease anything. I mean, Yoshis were in a scene earlier in the movie. It's not really a surprise that there's another Yoshi. I guess this time it's in New York? Will they really play on that though? Kinda a mid-scene, to be honest. I think I liked the ones from the previous movies better. At least they were doing funny jokes. This was just a poorly delivered reference in a movie filled with well-delivered references. Should've left it off at Bowser's song. In the end, my heart is still split. First, the soundtrack is so beautifully done. It was a true joy hearing many of these classic Mario themes rendered with a cinema orchestra. I loved hearing Captain Toad's theme play as Toad took Mario to Peach. I loved hearing the themes from the first few games as they explored Toad Town. I loved the Mario Kart 8 overture as they were building their carts. I loved the Final Star remix, although I wish they brought in the theme from Yoshi's Island /64 too. I loved how the credits had a rendition of Gusty Garden Galaxy. The music was so well done that as soon as I could, I bought it on vinyl. Brian Tyler did an absolutely fantastic job rendering Koji Kondo's classics, David Wise's Donkey Kong tracks, as well as Shuki Levy and Hiem Saban's rap from the cartoon. Although Grant Kirkhope probably should have been credited for the DK64 rap. Even with the music, my heart is still torn. This movie has an over-reliance on licensed songs. During the training scene, a rendition of an athletic theme would have hit harder than the cheesy 80s song Holding Out for a Hero. I didn't need to hear Chris Pratt's Mario wake up to Mr. Blue Sky, a song that was used in another Chris Pratt movie just a few years ago. And most egregiously, in the soundtrack there's a beautifully orchestrated version of the Donkey Kong Country theme that was ripped out and replaced with Take On Me. And I like Take On Me, but the Mario soundtrack is so strong by itself, this movie absolutely did not need to bring in overused songs from decades ago. Speaking of Chris Pratt, while I'm still flummoxed by the decision, I will rescind some of my bafflement at his casting. He did fine. He did not do good. He especially did not do great, but he did the job well enough. His performance wasn't distracting.
Man, I can't believe it. I am Mario.
The rest of the cast ranged from mediocre to Jack Black. Black rocked, he and Charlie Day were the true highlights of the movie. Everyone else did their jobs well enough, but I still hold the notion that Charles Martinet and really most other trained voice actors could have put in better performances overall. The plot was weak, but I really wasn't expecting the plot to be much in the first place. It was all at least better than the 2 Sing movies I watched with my family. The first one had the core message of, if you keep lying enough, you'll eventually get what you want. And the Mario movies, stick with your family, is miles better, regardless of how basic it may be. The story beats just form into a pretty basic adventure, go from point A to B and have a couple action scenes here or there. It is a bit unfortunate that none of the primary characters really got character arcs. Mario is the same the whole way through, especially given the flashback scene where baby Mario protects baby Luigi from a bully. Mario's whole life has just been him protecting Luigi from big bullies. The only difference in the movie is Luigi, who does have the slightest growth when he protects Mario in the climax. Same for Peach and Toad, they're both just as competent as the end as they were at the beginning. The film at least did comedy and action well. The opening platforming scene was really fun, and the proceeding dogfight was very funny. The training sequence and DK fights used power-ups in really clever ways, and it was humorous seeing Mario being beaten up so badly. The Mario Kart sequence was a joy to look at and equally exciting. Rainbow Road has never looked this good, and bringing in the blue shell was a fantastic decision. And the final two action scenes were really fun adaptations of a Mario level and Bowser boss fight. With all the action and comedy, this movie is great for kids, and it's especially great for people like me who have grown up with these plumbers their whole lives. It is such an experience seeing this iconography I've been looking at forever faithfully adapted in this way. I cannot say how happy I was to see everyone's favorite Biddy Buddies walking around. My heart leapt when Toad threw one in the air. The soundtrack alone was enough to make me tear up, and it didn't even use most of my favorite songs from the series. I was almost screaming when the Kongs showed off their world map, and it looked just like the map from Mario World. There were Mario references throughout the entire runtime, and looking out for them was half the fun of this movie. The Illumination Animation take on Mario Bros. Is a competent film with a great original score, fun action, and a plethora of references for all Mario fans to enjoy. It's got a thin children's movie plot, some subpar performances, and is a far cry from other movies like Into the Spider-Verse, the Lego Movie, or most other works from Pixar. It is the most faithful adaptation of the Super Mario Bros. We've gotten, but it's not an especially interesting one. And it has penguins, which is worth a lot in my book. Overall, I give the Super Mario Bros. Movie a cute but worthless penguin army out of 10. Now on to the ranking. Our current ranking is 2 Super Mario Bros. The Great Mission to Rescue Princess Peach and 1 Super Mario Bros. 1993. In pretty much every regard, the 2023 film is better than the 1986 anime. On a filmmaking level, the 2023 film is technically better than the 1993 film, but from a storytelling perspective, it's so much more boring. Yeah, the live action is bonkers, but it's trying something. The animated film is doing just enough to get the viewer to the next action set piece or the next reference. And you know what? This might be nostalgia speaking, but honestly, I'd rather watch a weird mess than a collection of Easter eggs. Eventually, the iconography will lose its muster, leaving a thin adventure movie, but the live action will always be interesting. My new ranking is 3 Super Mario Bros. The Great Mission to Rescue Princess Peach, 2 The Super Mario Bros. Movie 2023, and 1 Super Mario Bros. 1993. I'm certainly interested to see where Nintendo and Illumination go from here. They're obviously going to make a sequel. This has made boatloads of money already. There's also rumors of Donkey Kong and Luigi's Mansion spin-offs, the inclusion of Luma, and Peach awkwardly telling Mario that there's a whole lot of galaxies out there implies that Rosalina will show up eventually. Plus the Yoshi egg is obviously hinting at a more direct sequel too. My hope is that as more are made, more thought is put into what these movies are trying to say. The first time around, I suppose it's enough to be just a bunch of references, but the next time it'll need a little more meat in terms of plot and characterization. That being said, I can see at least the next one still being thin. Most of the references in this movie were targeted at the original 4 games. There are still a whole lot of things to pull from 64, Sunshine, the Galaxy games, and 3D World. But with all that being said, thank you so much for watching. Let me know how you would rank these 3 films, but make sure to defend your position with a 5-paragraph essay in the comments section below. If you enjoyed the video, maybe leave a rating and maybe subscribe if you'd like to see more of my stuff. If you missed the first 2, my other Mario movie reviews will be linked in a playlist in the description, as well as a couple links to articles I pulled for the history section. Also, all my social media links will be there too, where I am at Mario8 everywhere. Follow me if you'd like. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you next time. You know what the darkness at the end of this video makes me want to do? Makes me want to play saxophone.